Welcome to Acute Rhinitis from Science Teaching Academy. Why I am coughing? But this cough will lead to running nose. Even many of us will got that running nose, right? But have you ever think why it happened? Only few medicos should understand that. Why not us? Come, let's understand together why we get running nose. I'm eager. Hope you too. So, running nose is because medically called acute rhinitis. Let's look at the synopsis of our topic. Here we are going to cover four important contents. Our defense means our police force of our body, then viral attack, bacterial attack, and how specifically viral attack and host interact with that viral attack. That is host viral interaction. To understand that war field, what happened in the war, let us understand about the war field. That is our throat, our respiratory tract. Our respiratory tract is basically classified into two compartments, upper compartment and lower compartment. The upper respiratory tract covers over mouth, airway, oropharynx and nasopharynx, and the lower compartment comprises of the trachea and areoles. Fine. This airway, see what is nasopharynx and oropharynx. You might have familiar with nose and mouth, right, from our childhood. But nasopharynx is nothing but a pharynx region behind our nose, and similarly oropharynx, a region behind our mouth. Then, to look into deep into our tract, look over some epithelial layer lying over it. And while in our running nose, you may have seen some jelly kind of substance running from out of nose. What is called? We may call it as mucus, right? But you may wonder what mucus is made up of. Mucus is made up of a protein and a polysaccharide. A group of amino acids and a group of monosaccharides together form mucus. There is a common pathway between our nose and our intestinal tract that is called pharynx. Our stomach is rich of acids. So these acids will cleave off the mucus. So follow the arrow mark. The mucus from the respiratory tract enter through pharynx, through esophagus, from where the mucus is separated into protein and a polysaccharide. So how the mucus moves towards that? It's all because of the ciliary action in the throat. So the cilia are nothing but a flagella kind of things which moves the mucus towards up. Then what are these? IgA, defensing, protease, collectins. This is to give you a glimpse of what are the different kinds of proteins acting against these viruses. To appreciate this, we can want to move to further slides. Okay. Now we are having a zoomed picture of our epithelial layer from where mucus is secreted. Actually, mucus are secreted in two important regions, goblet cells and glands. So goblet cells are nothing but the cells which occur over the epithelial layer, and you might have appreciate here there are no cilia here, and you can also see that there is no cilia over the glands also, because these are the two regions where actually the mucus secretes, and the glands are surrounded by smooth muscles, so that the smooth muscles can voluntarily press over the glands to secrete out the mucus when it is required. Fine. To spit out a mucus when it is captured over the bacterial surface or a virus. There are many groups of microorganisms enter inside our different entry points of our body, like nose, mouth, anus, everything, right? Through nose also different groups of viruses enter. But which groups of viruses survive? You might have studied from your childhood that it is called rhinovirus which survive. All the viruses or all the microorganisms adapt to a particular temperature called tropism. We all know that our body temperature is 37 degrees centigrade, but it is different from our nose. Our nose have only 33 degrees centigrade. So which viruses survive onto that temperature will survive. For example, the pink one here, which I have pointed, among different colors of viruses, the pink virus have entered. That is called rhinovirus have entered. But for a virus enter, why there are different anti-defense sources are there? The virus have a weapon called antigen, a particular protein which exhibits the toxicity of that virus. But for that, our body will produce called a protein called antibody, which go and opsonize that antigen. But you may see two antibodies have been generated here, antibody 1 and antibody 2. How both antibodies can be generated against the same antigen? I said only one virus have entered, but how it differentiate between two? A term called serotyping enters. So serotyping is nothing but a minute changes over that virus, which makes different types of a same virus. Whatever medicine comes, till colds exist for a long time. You may hear this funny fact, right? If you consume tablets for cold, it will cure for 7 days. If you not consume, it will cure for 1 week, right? So whatever happens, I never SS exist because of these different serotypes. Look over the picture over here. As I said before, the cilia will move away the mucus, but the cilia over here can be make us an entry point for virus because there may be receptors. So the receptors over that our cells are very well enough to hug over the virus, but the bacteria represented here in brown color have no such receptors. So bacteria doesn't have any entry points, but virus enters in and changes the morphology of the cell. Finally, in this picture you might have looked that cilia have been disintegrated. These are all the actions of viruses. So no ciliary motility hereafter, and there is no break because of the breakdown of cilia. The cell for full virus particles. The cell become the factory of virus particles now. So what happens to the fate of the cell with virus? Either the cell may go for cell lysis, that its membrane disrupts and all go in a collapse state, or the brilliant cell will go for self-suicide. The self-suicide is technically called as apoptosis, that is programmed cell death by our own cells. Or instead of rhinovirus, I am looking over another case called adenovirus, which forms a crystal inside the nucleus. Or our virus, which may be marked by different markers around our cell, can be recognized by our police force. There is a patrolling police force of our body, that is white blood cells. They will surround our virus infected cells for destruction. If there is no cell destruction, but the virus particles use that as factories and grow further. The top most picture which I represent called cancer transformation means it occurs in a very few kind of viruses like papilloma virus. These viruses may lead to the cell to proliferate. Look over here. How a bacteria can enter into our infected cell. In the before slides, we have said that bacteria can't enter into our infected cells, but here the bacteria which have receptors can attack a viral infected cell. Means even the virus have infected the cell, bacteria can have an upper hand over it. Here in this case, the bacteria, the blue color bacteria which I represented, are using a brilliant trick that they are producing toxins over that receptors of cilia. But still the cilia is not disintegrated, right? Then what happened exactly there? It makes the cilia static. It doesn't move further. If the cilia is moving here and there only, it can move the mucus upside. But here it becomes it static and make the entry points for bacteria to insert it. In the beginning of the slide, as I said, bacteria have a special toxins which which comes really to affect us, but not in the case of viruses. Viruses are obligate parasites which needs us to live, but bacteria is like our enemies infecting us. See, in the case is a special case for tuberculosis. So tuberculosis again due to a bacteria called MTB, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, in which it will go inside the epithelial layer of areola. So areola is nothing but the respiratory tract endpoints where the gas exchange actually takes place. In that place, there are a lot of macrophages, means a kind of WBC will be there. The MTP bacteria enjoys over it, means TB will grow well, escape from the phagocytosis of macrophages, and they will use that cells to grow well. Thank you for listening with us about the basics of acute rhinitis. In the forthcoming lectures, we can understand the brief description about it with further details. Next time when you get cold, do not fear. Fight it with proper understanding of it. Thank you.